David has been doing this all of his life. So he's come here from San Diego to deliver this presentation, but he's got a lot of experience going all the way back to his childhood in Wyoming. So are we ready to go for this presentation? Everyone ready? Web3 talent in this fast-changing world, David. So over to yourself.
Thank you very much. Hey everybody, I'm David James. So they say that this thing's going to work, and we're going to find out right now. We're going to talk about the challenges of hiring Web3 talent in the global blockchain space. I'm the Chief Visionary Officer of Blockchain Recruiters, and you guys can all take a moment and scan that, right? Take your phones out. I'm going to give you a moment to scan all that right now, because when you come out to me later and say, hey, well, how do I get a hold of you? What can I do this, right? This is a tech show, right? So no cards, no pamphlets, no brochures, tech. So let's discuss how people go about hiring. But first, let's think about how we acquire food. There was a time when people had to go grow their own food. Now they go to a place like this, right? Everybody familiar with a place like this, right? I will tell you how acquiring food correlates to acquiring talent later. It's a slow build. Everyone thinks they're good at hiring. Who here, raise your hand if you've hired somebody or in the process of hiring somebody, right? Yeah, okay, come on, get them up there. That's right. Everybody thinks they're good at hiring. Do you all think you're good at hiring? They are not. Managers think because they are in a position of authority that they are naturally gifted at salary negotiations. They think because they do business, right? Because they negotiate business, they bought a car, they negotiated their house, the leasing of their equipment, they got a good job from their vendor, that they're good at salary negotiations. They are not. Those in hiring positions all think that people will naturally want to work for them. That's what they'll think. They will not. In the United States, we have a little town called Hollywood. Who here has heard of Hollywood? Raise your hand if you heard of Hollywood. No, not Bollywood. Hollywood. Yes, Hollywood. I mean, it's like Bollywood, but smaller. Everyone wants a job there. They all think it'll be like this. They all come to Hollywood. They all think it's going to be like this. But actually, it usually ends up like this. Never in my life have I seen such zeal and delusion that dreams will come true as the people who pilgrimage to Hollywood. It's amazing. I'm from Southern California. I was born there. People say to me, I'm an actor. And I go, really? Which restaurant? Yet they come. They come and they stampede like a herd, a stampede. And yet they end up like this. Why does this matter? More than the allure of Hollywood, there is this new thing that everybody wants. Everybody know what that is? Everybody know what that new thing is? Anybody? Crypto riches, right? We all got here because somebody told us about crypto, about this really cool coin, duck coin, toenail coin, Bitcoin. Not everyone thinks they can make it in Hollywood. They don't. But everyone thinks they can make it in crypto, right? Now, this is a blockchain conference. Blockchain is the future of everything. It is. But the reason people are flocking to blockchain, they think it's this. 95% of the people who flock to blockchain think cryptocurrency or speculative NFTs are its only application. That's all it is. It's crypto, it's NFT. Yo, I've got some Dogecoin. Okay. Yeah. I bought some Shiba Inu and I let it run. The guy who gave me a massage told me that. And I told him he qualified for the Fool and His Money program at the bank. The entire world is headed toward a global recession. 35% of the world's population is going to be displaced from their careers within the next 2 years. No, I mean, seriously, we're headed toward a bad one. Yes, I'm from the United States, and our central bank is pretty much running things, and don't hate me, I'm just a guy who happens to have a zip code close to that. The Western world will experience a 15% unemployment by 2024. How do I know this? Because I've been a professional recruiter since 1988. The true gauge of the economy is how hard it is to get a job. That's the truth. If it's hard to get a job, economy bad. If it's easy to get a job, economy good. It's that binary, 0 or 1. I'm sure we all remember 2008. Is there anybody here who doesn't remember 2008 by a show of hands? I'd like to know what cave you were living in, right? If you thought it was hard to get a job in 2008, imagine how it was to get paid to find a job. Imagine how hard it was to be a recruiter, to get someone to pay you to find somebody to have a job, right? 90% of the recruiters in the world did something else in 2008. Some drove a taxi, some went to work for Amazon, some built custom aquariums for rock stars and movie stars and celebrities. David James, I stayed a recruiter. I barely survived. I did. I was broke. I was a grown man in 2010. I was sitting at my desk and I literally was thinking about crying. Like the first time in my life, right? A grown man, right? 48 years old, 46 years old. I was thinking of like crying. And I said to myself, if I cry right now, I've given in. I've given in to all the demons within me that tell me I'm a failure, I'd never be, right? But I knew it would turn around. And just for those of you who are curious, no, I decided not to cry. I also knew that we were leaving the industrial age, right? From the time of catapults to the time of modern space travel, we officially entered the age of Aquarius in 2012. To corroborate our entry into the information age, let's look at what also happened around that time. And what I'm talking about, right, there was the Stone Age, right? Then we came to the Iron Age when we found fire, right? Then we found the Industrial Age, right? And I'm talking about the Informational Age. And to corroborate that, I'll show you what else happened. In 2006, Facebook and Twitter arrived. In 2007 came the iPhone. And my favorite piece of technology, and Bitcoin in 2009 entered the scene. Now, I heard about Bitcoin in 2013. That same day, I went out and I bought 10 Bitcoin. That same day that I heard about it. It was May 2013. And back then, what you had to do was you had to go and you had to take cash, fiat cash, and you had to go and deposit it in some stranger's bank account. You would walk into the bank and say, hey, I want to put this money in this person's bank account. Talk about trust, talk about third party, talk about centralized. And then you would have to take the receipt, you would have to fax it to him, right? And then he put it on the blockchain. This is before there were any wallets, right? It was, I think it was blockchain.info, right? It was my first wallet. It was nothing, right? Everybody told me I was crazy. Now, this does not mean I'm a genius because I went out and bought 10 Bitcoin. Did I tell you I bought them for $100 each? So maybe genius is accurate, right? And that is what brought me to blockchain. And I'm sure you guys all have and gals, have your own what brought you to blockchain experience. My desire for crypto riches made me a subject matter expert in Bitcoin. You guys can all tell me when you first bought Bitcoin, what year, what month. I'll tell you what the price was, right? Because I'm looking at it every day. And then this dumb thing called Ethereum came for only $1, and I go, that's gonna lose. After almost 10 years of looking at blockchain every day, I realized that blockchain would be the new global revolution. Then this happened in 2020. Then this. Got a latency issue here, Dennis. Then this as well. Everybody started working from home. By show of hands, who here had somebody at their company or organization go from working in the office to working at home? And by a show of hands, who in this audience went from working in this organization to working at home? Right. The unseen benefit of COVID was it forced us to utilize technology that we already had, because necessity is the mother of all invention, right? We had Zoom. We had this technology, but it's like, can we just meet at the office, right? Nobody wanted to do it. As an expert recruiter with 30 plus years of experience, I've learned a few things. You have to say no more than you say yes. You had to become an expert in the market where you recruited. Oops, sorry about that. You also had to be smarter than all your competition. We all understand that. This is not a genius concept that I came with. This applies to all of our business, right? The only way to be smarter in my particular business was to aggregate all the talent worldwide. Let me just stop and qualify that, right? What I do is I find what we do at our firm is we spend 24 hours a day. We actually have resources that are looking for blockchain talent. We attach any type of social media they have, usually LinkedIn, right? And then we buy their phone number, their email, right? Their WhatsApp, right? Our ability to contact them at a later date. That puts us 1 degree of separation from all the blockchain talent on planet Earth. Now let's talk about first up, by a show of hands, be brave to raise your hand. How many people here have had experience with a recruiter, either speaking to them for a job or to hire somebody? I know I have. Okay. Here's what most recruiters do. They get an assignment. They start calling people that they find on LinkedIn. Hey, are you a crash test dummy? You are? How are they treating you in that car you crash? They fall in love with the first person who is interested in talking to them, right? And if they're interested in going to interview for the company, they call the client up and say, I found the perfect person for you. And the truth is, they found the first person that spoke to them. And they begged them to take the job. And think about it like this way. It's like, and pardon me, ladies, I'm going to use an expression. It's like landing on the land of the ugly women, right? You land on this planet with just ugly women. After about two weeks, the least ugly start looking the best, right? And that's how it is with candidates, right? You as a hiring authority, you've got to fill these positions, right? But you're getting just these bad resumes. And finally, what you start doing is you start justifying in your mind why you should hire these bad candidates. And the truth of the matter is, the recruiters are actually creating this mind poison for you. And they're telling you it's really, really hard out there, and they can't get all the people. So let us reiterate. Hollywood, pick me, I'm gonna be a big star. Bitcoin, it only goes up, right? Anybody here ever FOMO'd into anything? Yeah, no, just me? Okay. We are entering a global recession, which means instead of getting this many responses to an ad, you get this. So now you know the recipe that exists in the world. So what does Hollywood, crypto, COVID, global recession have to do with anything? Who else is wondering where the speaker is going with this? Let me break it down for you. I use Hollywood because everybody at one time has imagined themselves as a famous celebrity, right? As a kid, as a singer, professional skateboarder, professional gamer, something, right? Mostly because that fame would bring success and all the things that money can and cannot buy. But we know that 99% of the population, like us, and officially, we're not famous. I'm officially not famous. But crypto gives people that same hope, that they too will become rich. Whether it's true or not really makes no difference, right? But there's this new thing where people actually who won't say I'm going to go to Hollywood, they want to work in Web3. I had a doctor, a heart surgeon, says, I know a lot about blockchain. And what I said to him when he came over, I said, just keep looking for it. It's going to be there because blockchain is going to be everything, right? People realize they cannot easily just become a celebrity. Most people found crypto when it was too high. They FOMO'd in. The after effects of COVID are that everyone is working remotely, globally even. When we started with blockchain, our first client was in New Zealand. And we got them a permanent person who was in Canada. That never before was happening. Which brings me to the new way things will be done in the information age. Now let's talk about hiring in the Web3 space. The average age of a founder or a CEO of a blockchain project is 24 years of age. They have zero experience making executive hires. They thought they've had many successes and triumphs because they mastered Zelda at age 9. What else is there? They think because their project is so cool that all the right people will just apply to their ad. They think because they're, oh, I already said that. And they will say, I have over 300 emails from people who want to work for me. I'm certain there's a hire out of that population. One of two things will end up happening. Too many unqualified candidates will apply. Anybody know anyone like this at their firm? Or there will be no one to hire out of that population, right? And they go through this process under this delusion, thinking that they'll know how to hire somebody, and all of a sudden now, when the recruiters call with the first person that called them back, the marginal C+ candidate, in their mind, out of desperation, that person now looks good, right? And this is why we fundamentally have problems with companies breaking down in their hiring processes. What's the number one most dreaded thing to do in any organization? Who knows it? Anybody? The most dreaded thing to do in a corporation? Right. Terminate an employee. You nailed it. What's the second most dreaded thing to do? Who said that? Hiring. Hire someone, right? It's a disaster. It's a time suck. And nobody knows how to do it. Because hiring has no rhyme or reason. It requires adding science to art. Science, art. I use the Hollywood analog to demonstrate FOMO. I use the crypto analogy to also demonstrate FOMO. I brought up the global recession because desperation in candidates makes hiring even more difficult. I did not come all the way across the world to speak for 20 minutes without a solution to the Web3 hiring there. I flew 16 hours to talk to you folks, nonstop from Los Angeles. Let's go all the way back to the beginning of the talk when I mentioned grocery shopping. You go to the grocery store and it's all there. Categorized, labeled, priced and ready for you to select. Because grocery stores really do nothing except aggregate the things that people want. In this case, food. We at Blockchain Recruiters do the exact same thing. Almost. We aggregate all the blockchain talent in the world, categorizing human capital in the blockchain space by discipline, geography, skill set, price, enthusiasm, and life force. What else is there, right? There's one more thing that most recruiters, and even you in your own hiring, don't take into consideration. Emotional intelligence. Every candidate that I put forward, no matter how low or how high it is, I want to know the emotional intelligence. I'm looking for an operator. I'm looking for Jack Ryan, for those of you who know who that is. I'm looking for somebody who can go out there and actually do work for like the KGB or the CIA. They can think on their own, without the killing part, of course. And when you call me and you say, David, can you find me a CTO? Or can you find me a senior blockchain engineer? I'm going to tell the story. About a year ago, somebody called me up and said, I need a senior blockchain engineer with at least 12 years of progressive experience. I said, I have one guy. He goes, perfect. His name is Satoshi Nakamoto, and he's worth $60 billion. Can you afford him? I just say, tell me what you want, and I will produce them for you in short order. In closing, we are Blockchain Recruiters, the largest aggregator of blockchain talent on planet Earth, and I'm here in Dubai at the Future of Blockchain to tell all of those who need or will need blockchain talent, we are the best grocery store for the types of goods you need. You need talented blockchain professionals? We have them. Wait, one thing. Okay, so feel free to call me, email, DM, tweet, carrier pigeon, for any of your staffing needs. Thank you. Merci. Gracias. And of course, shukran lak. And here I am again for those of you who want to get it again. Talk over. So I think I've got some time. Yeah, I got 5 minutes. So anybody have any questions? Going once? Okay. Can you yeah.
Yeah, hi. How do you take care of moonlighting?
Oh yeah, you're talking about people that have 2 jobs?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. You're asking the wrong guy. I once I arrange the marriage and set you up with the wedding and the honeymoon, that's on you on how you're going to manage the finances and raise the kids. Yeah.
You said you're helping people recruiting from across geographies. Then how can we be sure that whether
Yeah, you know, this is a new thing. COVID brought this. What happened was I know someone who actually works down the hall from me. He has a job as a customer service agent, full-time with benefits for AT&T Wireless. He also has that exact same job, full-time with benefits, Verizon Wireless. And for a technology company, when he's on the phone with Verizon, AT&T sees him as on the phone and they think he's logged on and working, right? So yeah, he's getting 2 paychecks. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's beyond my pay grade.
One more question.
Go ahead.
How can we do a background check of any candidate if we are hiring from across geographies?
You mean how do you actually check a reference
Yeah,
on how good they are?
reference or background check.
I mean, I'm not going to get into the secret sauce, but you know we're in a new space. The problem with the people who have most of the talent, right? They're 20 years old, right? They started in their bedroom, right? So you're going to hire a 20-year-old and you're going to risk your investors 20 million, right? So a lot of things that what we've done is we find talented developers and you take them to Crypto Zombie inside. But here's the deal. We're just going to talk about developers, right? You want somebody who can write a smart contract that can prove it and show us your GitHub, right? That's it. But we don't just do developers, right? We do all forms of things. Any other questions? Anybody else?
Thank you.
Going once, going twice. Hold on a
We've
second.
got time for one more question, David.
This gentleman right here.
There is time for one more question. Anybody else? Yes.
Here.
When you say you aggregate talent, what do you mean by that? Was it a platform or?
No. The question he asked is when you say, David, that you aggregate talent, what's that mean? Is that a platform? It's not AI, it's HI, it's human intelligence. I have human beings, right? That's what differentiates us, that look at these people. This guy's Ferrari, this guy's junkyard, right? And they're making that discernment, and we're putting them in our database, and then we're bringing in their life. A lot of times, if somebody won't actually fill out and embody their LinkedIn profile, then there's a reason they don't have much to show about that. Or there's a lot of sloth, right? So we aggregate these people so we can actually make good human intelligence decisions when we see them later. Anyhow, if you guys want to talk to me, young man, will you stand up, please, right here? This is the CEO of our company, Mr. David Hampton, right? And so you can speak to him, right? Or our colleague, Riddy Jane, right? And we're going to all be over there if you'd like to speak to us. But somebody else has bought the stage for the next hour. So with that, shukran lak.